How's it going, guys? Hopefully you guys are having a fantastic Friday. And today I want to talk to you about the future of NASCAR video games. I've been playing these games my entire life, pretty much ever since I was 3-4 years old when I first got to play video games, maybe in 5 or 6. I don't know how old I was when I first started, but the point is I've been playing since NASCAR 99, NASCAR 2001 pretty much. And I've played, I would say, every NASCAR video game ever made, except for like the one where Jimmy Johnson is like in a shopping cart or something. But other than that, I think I've played almost every single NASCAR video game. So I feel like I have a good amount of say of what I'm saying here, what I think this series should be and this franchise should be, and I really want to improve these games as much as I can with any of the influence that I can, and get your guys' input as well. So there was a really good article written by Matthew Cato, hopefully I pronounced his name right, from Game Informer, where it's titled "What's in Store for the Future of NASCAR Heat," and I just want to go over it because there's a lot of interesting information here that I feel like you guys would want to know as well, and so just some explanations basically on what's coming out with NASCAR Heat 5 and why a lot of you who might be a little bit disappointed with how little features are in the game, this kind of explains what's going on and also explains what I've been thinking has been going on as well, and why I feel you should support the developers and hopefully they can get the best game for you in the future. So let's talk about this article. We feel like with Heat 5 we're reaching the end of a chapter, says creative director Paul Coleman. There are a lot of really important changes we want to make to take a run up as we look to the future of the franchise, and then there are multiple aspects in this article: online, career mode, rules, DLC, and more games that we're going to be talking about from the creative director at Motorsport Games. So for those of you who really want changes to the online mode, this part is for you. So Motorsport and new developer 704 Games admit that there are some legacy aspects of the code that prevent them from adding big features or fixes to the game's online features this year. Important to say that this is new developer 704 Games. 704 Games was the publisher before, with Monster Games being the developers, and now 704 Games themselves are the developers, with a lot of backing and help from Motorsport. When and how we'll see these addressed remains to be seen, but one of Motorsport's ambitions is to remake the game from the ground up with competitive esports play in mind, Coleman says. Apart from some of the fixes that have been rolling out via patches to the current game and tweaks for NASCAR E5, at a minimum, Coleman mentioned upping the mode's production values of future titles to match the fanfare of a televised race broadcast. Hopefully, we'll also see more stable netcode as well as the possibility of a full weekend schedule complete with virtual practice and qualifying sessions. This leads back to what I've been mentioning, is NASCAR 86 will be built from the ground up. There will be a brand new engine for that game. What engine will they use? I do not know. Will they try to create their own game engine? Will they use one that's already being used, like, so let's say Unreal Engine? We will have to wait and see. Will they share with Codemasters? Because there's a lot of Codemasters guys at Motorsport now. And will they maybe strike a deal with Codemasters to use their engine? But basically, NASCAR 86 will be a new engine, a brand new game. And this is where they're trying to get the most realism out of it possible so they can really up their esports value. I think everyone knows the NASCAR Heat Series has been getting smoked in esports by iRacing, and I think we all know they never will be able to compete with what iRacing has, but a more realistic target for them would be the F1 series that Codemasters is going after. I've watched a few Twitter clips and highlights of F1 esports races, and the production value is absolutely fantastic, just like real life F1, and I think that is what they are trying to match, which I fully agree with. So hopefully, although that's meant for online, that also means in offline single player modes you guys will get more broadcast style televised kind of packages similar to the NASCAR Thunder games where you had the MRN guys and the flyover and the anthem. Hopefully you'll get more of a broadcast style race when you're racing yourself, which is also very similar to the F1 games and Codemasters and their pre-race info, where they literally use the same exact graphics that the TV does in the video game. And I think you're going to hear me mentioning the F1 games a lot because, again, a lot of the veterans at 704 Games right now actually came from Codemasters. A lot of the guys working on this NASCAR Heat Series now came from Codemasters and came from other big developers. And so you might hear me mentioning F1 a lot. It's because F1 is a really good game. It's one of the best racing games out there. And I feel like the more you could take away and influence from that game and put it into your own, the better this game is going to be. So let's get to where I really want to get to, career mode. Career mode is my most played mode. I don't play online much. If I do play online and it's a racing game, it's going to be iRacing. But if I wanted to do just play on my own and have fun, which is what I like to do the most, that's career mode. So let's talk about career mode. The current career structure puts you in the garage to manage the building and upgrading of your cars, but there's more room in the mode to delve into the drivers themselves. Quote, there's ways that we can really start playing with the players' emotions a bit more, really giving them that sense that they are a driver in this world, Coleman says. Coleman wants to maximize the publisher's access to the real-life drivers beyond filming video cameos. The company already talked to drivers about the technical aspects of driving a stock car, and he mused that perhaps other avenues could be explored, such as getting a good look at how drivers negotiate switching teams, for example. In a broader sense, Coleman says he'd love to explore important team aspects beyond just finding drafting partners out on the track, widening out the driver relationships into something that resonates with the player over the long run. And most NASCAR games have handled this with simple friend or foe designation, so adding depth to the vital and sometimes volatile relationship between drivers would be awesome. Although Coleman hasn't set up concrete plans, further exploration of team dynamics and driver relationships sounds like a good start to expanding NASCAR Heat's current career structure. I go back again to the F1 career mode. What is one of the first things Codemasters really tried to push in F1 career modes? They pushed your teammate, because again, your teammate is a massive part of F1. It's your main rival, and you have to completely compete against them, be driver 1 and driver 2. I could see something like that entering a NASCAR series. Now, teammates aren't as important in NASCAR as they are in F1. Beating your teammate is not as important, but you still want to beat them. I feel like what NASCAR has is they have a lot of personalities and a lot of drivers. I feel like they could really create something here. Now, I'm talking way down the line, multiple years from now, but as I have talked to the developers from 704 Games, some of the guys that are still there, one of their visions was they wanted to create a narrative mode similar to what Madden and FIFA had with the Journey, and I think it was called Long Shot, where you are a driver in this cinematic narrative kind of game mode, and there's storylines and there's cutscenes and something like that into a NASCAR career mode. Now, that would also be separate from a, I would say, like owner mode, where you create a driver and make your own team and run the team. This would be like a actual narrative story mode-esque thing. I think we're many years away from that. But I would like to see that in a NASCAR game, because I think there are a lot of storylines you could put as a race car driver. Let's say you're, racing in the dirt series, you're struggling for money, you have a family, you can do stuff like this. There's a lot of money that has to be put into this and a lot of backing, which is why I say multiple years from now. And I also don't think it's a priority. I don't think necessarily right away we have to push for a story mode-esque game mode. I would love it, but I would like other aspects of the game to be much more polished than actually just trying to put all the money into that. And also, I don't think developers have the resources right now to do that. So let's wait a little bit on that. But I can say that that is one of the things that the 704 guys from, they're not there anymore, Sean Wilson, Ed Martin, but some of the things they told me was they wanted to get something like that. And I still believe that the guys that I know that are still there still want to do that with motorsport games. It's just going to take time to do it. Another thing about career mode is, yes, they do want to do an owner mode. They want to do it right. And I feel like that is going to be something we see much more before, like a story mode-esque thing. But an owner mode where you're an owner and you have to control your drivers and the teams and everything, I think that would be really cool. The in-depth contracts, how switching teams might affect you, how it might affect your fan base, how it might affect your relationships with other drivers, affect your relationship with teammates. As an owner, how much R&D can you do? What kind of areas of the car can you upgrade? What kind of expenses do you have to incur? Do you have to pay salaries to your pit crew, to your engineers, to your mechanics, to your fabricators, to your drivers? And then you have to do well in the races every week to make the money back, get sponsors. I think all of that is really important. That's all available to do. It's all possible. But again, it's going to be a few years down the line. I think one of the biggest things I want to see, and I think they're trying to work on too, is making the money matter. Like I said, you have to pay all these people, and you have to do well in the race to continue paying those people. So it takes a little bit more time to upgrade your cars or your facilities or your pit crews, because you already have to pay what you have. It's a business. You're basically trying to, a lot of the small teams have to deal with a week in, week out, getting money from sponsorships. I want sponsorships to be really important in a career mode. I don't want to just think about, I'm just going to sign this sponsor. No, I want to think, I need as much money as I can. I actually think negotiations would be kind of cool if you could negotiate with a sponsor. So you have these 3 sponsors, right, that you could start off with. They all give you a certain negotiation or a certain salary startup and a bonus, and you negotiate with them and you try to get more out of them. And if you go too high, one could just pull out and say, we're not interested in that. We'll look at different endeavors. And then you have 2 other sponsors. I think all this could be really cool, because you have to maximize what is important in real life NASCAR, which is sponsorships and your team members. And I definitely see that coming soon in a NASCAR video game. I think they can do that. I think it would be awesome. It would be much more immersive, and it would make me just really happy. And I'm not just saying what I want. This is also what they want. What they want to prioritize, like will they prioritize a paint booth before career mode? I don't know that, but I know they want these kind of things in a game, and I know they want this level of development, this level of R&D, this level of depth, detail. They want that in this game, and so hopefully they could get that in soon. Rules. Implementing NASCAR's ever-changing rulebook in a video game has been hard for many developers through sports video game history, and 704 acknowledges the Heat franchise needs to do a better job on its end. DNFs are in Heat 5, and going forward, the team wants to add proper black flag rules and alluded to the possibility of allowing players to have some kind of role during restarts. Hopefully this includes the leader being able to pick their lane. This was something in the Technics games, being able to pick your lane on a restart. Black flags hopefully will be in, I would say, Heat 6 or Heat, that should be in the game already, but hopefully it could be in there soon. And whatever NASCAR does in real life, they have to get that into the game as well. I think one thing that I keep seeing a lot of you guys complain about is not having the super speedway cars on the game. You just use the normal cars, and the super speedway package is different. The bumpers, everything, it's a little bit different, and they need to do a better job getting those cars into the game and stuff like that. So hopefully, again, with new developers, they can do that, and that could be done. DLC post-release content for the series has so far revolved around supplying fans with different paint schemes, but Coleman says that DLC could be a way to explore the legends of the sport via challenges. This is more about these drivers did amazing things at these particular racetracks, so let's expose that to the player and get them kind of immersed in the history of that driver a bit more. Something I would compare this to, again, F1 has this with their legends, Senna and Prost and everything going out there, but think about like a WWE game that explores legends as well. You go to their recent WrestleManias or something like that. The hard thing about NASCAR is because of Race Team Alliance, getting the legends into the game is really difficult. Negotiating all of that takes a lot of time. There's a lot of loopholes you have to go through. That's just specific to NASCAR. I'm not saying it's impossible, but it can be done, but it takes a lot of time and a lot of just business stuff to get those legends in the game. Now, when you get legends in the game, what do? I would definitely like a scenario mode similar to WWE where you have these separate challenges, these separate races with these legend drivers, and then doing that unlocks the drivers for the rest of the game. You can race with them online, you can race them in single player. I think that is a game mode that should be in here. Now, it all depends on when 704 can get the rights to these legend drivers. Again, because of Race Team Alliance and how every driver, for example, if you wanted to get Dale Earnhardt into the game, right, you have to go through Teresa Earnhardt, because Teresa Earnhardt owns everything about pretty much Dale Earnhardt. And negotiating with Teresa and everything over there to get all the image rights and all the cars, and you have to go to a different person to get the actual car, then you have to go to good. It becomes insane of the amount of people you have to go to negotiate, to pay money to get that driver into the game, which is why I understand that has not been prioritized and why that has not been done. I feel like that could be done in the future. It just depends on how stingy, real life NASCAR and real life business becomes of it. Hopefully not. And finally, more games. Coleman said that Motorsport has wide-reaching plans to pull out multiple racing games encompassing different racing disciplines, and is open to seeing what happens with NASCAR Heat moniker in particular. Perhaps they'll change it to reflect where the series goes. Motorsport's pretty much brand new to the gaming industry, but I know they have a lot of money behind them, and they have very high ambitions. They want to do a lot of things. They want to do things in rally. They want to do NASCAR. I think they want to do the Australian racing series. I forgot what they're called, but V8, something like that. But they want to do a lot of things. They want to make a lot of racing games, and that's the thing. They're key on racing games. So under their umbrella, I honestly believe NASCAR is in good hands. Now, what are you going to see in the future? We don't know, but I do know that I feel like you guys, as part of the NASCAR community, if you want a better NASCAR game, I feel like right now, let's say for NASCAR Heat 5, you're not that happy about the lack of changes. I would still support them. I would still go out and buy the game solely because I believe these guys have the right intentions in mind. They will rebuild the game from the ground up. A new game engine will be made. Can any of that be changed for NASCAR Heat 5? No. And I feel like they're actually coming out and saying, listen, we understand NASCAR Heat 5. It's not going to be exactly what we want, but this is what we have. And then going to the next gen, they're going to really try and change things up. This is this is different leadership than what 704 Games Publishers was. This is a different company. Different people are at the top, like Paul here. And so with different people at the top, different ambitions, a different budget, we're going to see what they have. And I think the next NASCAR Heat 6, I think is going to be a really big indication of what they do, what game engine they use, how they go along with it. And then you guys have to speak with your wallets on if you support them or not. I would definitely support them. I would buy the game and just try to give as much feedback as possible. One thing I do love about these guys is they listen to the feedback no matter what. They understand what has to be put in the game. It's just about getting it into the game. And hopefully 5-6 years down the road, we're gonna see some great games even before that. Hopefully Heat 6 is a great game. I'm not saying it'll be fantastic, because again, it's gonna be on a new engine. It takes time when you build a game from the ground up, but hopefully it's going to be a great game. So guys, comment down below, what do you think about the future of the NASCAR video game series? Motorsport ain't going anywhere. They're locked in till 2029. These are going to be developers for a long time, so support them, see what their vision is. They want what you guys want. They want that better online with esports. They want the better career mode. They want legend drivers. And you know how many times I've heard people complain about legend drivers not being in the game? They want legend drivers in the game. It's just difficult to do. So support them, try to get it done. And yeah, so if you guys like the video, make sure to hit the like button. If you're new to the channel, make sure you subscribe. Again, comment down below with any of your opinions. What do you want to see in the game? Say what you want in the game. Say what you want to see. What do you prioritize? Do you prioritize the paint booth, or do you prioritize career mode? Do you prioritize online features so you can race in leagues? Or do you prioritize a different game mode with legends and like a 10-hour campaign story mode or something? Just what do you prioritize? I'll see you guys later. Hope you're having a great day. If you're not already, subscribe, follow me on Twitter and Instagram. Links are in the description below. And I'll see you guys later. Stay safe. Peace out.